Hi Amber, I'm Lee and I am going to review your paper today. And I just wanted to start off by saying that I really enjoyed reading your paper and seeing how other people in the classroom completed this assignment. And your topic is such a very serious one, especially with state testing starting in 2 weeks. And we are starting testing for the state test at my high school in 2 weeks, and I agree with you that these tests are all about the money. It seems like, and also money for the companies who grade the test. They also, because if they're taken on a computer, I feel like as soon as they are done taking the test, unless there's a writing prompt, the computer should be able to grade these students, and they should get their scores back immediately, like in the case 21. Okay, and so today my first compliment for your paper is that you really have a passion for this topic, and I can tell within your introductory paragraph that you started with some very serious questions to get your readers thinking, and then you stated about the state policies that you had researched and that you know about. For some expansion, you could talk more about the time period before state testing was mandated, and maybe research what the graduation rates were before we started implementing all of these state testing requirements for graduation. My second compliment is I like how you discuss standardized tests, and how you show you did your research about with the different policies for each of the standardized tests. For some expansion, you could talk maybe more about the first standardized test and find out what year we began giving these tests, and then research and find the years when we changed each test and what did we change the test to? What was the new test that was changed over to? Okay, so my third compliment is I liked how you discussed the impact of the standardized test on young children. As being a mother, I know that it causes such a great deal of stress, and they start worrying early on. My daughter will come home maybe a weeks before and just talk to me about how nervous she is, and it has to have come from their teacher, um, talking to them over and over about how important it is that they pass it. I do have a third grade daughter, and she has to take her tests to move on to the fourth grade, and it just puts a lot of unneeded stress on them, even though they might make all A's all year long, to then go and tell them that this one test they might not get to move on to the next grade. So for expansion on this, you could talk about the research and find out how many children do not pass these standardized tests due to their nerves and being stressed, even though they might have good grades. That one day when they come in to take this test, they might vomit. It might not be their good day, like you said. My fourth compliment is I like how you talk about how teachers are teaching to the test, because that is so true. And this is another major concern because I've witnessed this as a SPED teacher doing inclusion, going into classrooms where teachers are teaching state tested areas and cramming so much information in. I have a teacher right now whose state test is April 23rd, and they are cramming 2 months worth of information into the children in about a 3 week period to get it all in, because they got his state testing date and found out it was April 23rd. And so he's told his class that if they just work really hard for 3 weeks, they'll have a whole month where they get to watch movies. And I just think this is such an injustice to the kids. And I know so many of them play sports and they have jobs, and then for teachers to give packets of homework every night and barely have time to cover everything, but um, insinuate that the student is going to have to cover it all so that they can get it all covered by April 23rd. It's just wrong, in my opinion. For expansion, you could talk about graduation requirements and how we have had to, or the school system has had to go back and make adjustments to these standardized tests and include the ACT scores and possibly their scores they made in the class to compensate for not passing a standardized test due to so many students, once this was mandated, not being able to graduate. Okay, so now my first recommendation is that you could improve how you define your 7 topics, maybe by numbering them or separating them into paragraphs. You could use like bold headers for each paragraph and at the start of each series to clearly define each topic. My second recommendation would be you could talk about the side effects of schools not offering the home economics and economy or how to budget a checkbook, and the effect of students when they go to college and they don't know the basics of how to manage money by not having those general classes taught anymore. My third recommendation would be to include maybe more personal experiences that you have with students when they're faced with the standardized testing. You could research maybe student stress levels, their passing rates, the absentees, and the days that schools are used to do testing makeups for all the students who do not show up on the standardized testing days, and that impact on the schools. So my fourth recommendation, you could get teachers' perspectives of the standardized test and how they have to cover certain testing topics by the certain dates, and then how they are held accountable for if their students in their classroom pass or fail the state test, and what percentage makes advanced or proficient. Okay, and so with that all being said, I've got 2 of the APA suggestions. So the first APA suggestion is just I would suggest that you clearly separate your 7 topics and possibly number them to the side, or just break them up into, or no, I'm sorry, your introductory paragraph. I would suggest, it is such one long paragraph, I would break that up into smaller paragraphs, all being your introductory, but not just in one long paragraph. And then my second APA suggestion would be that when you are citing your references in your paper, the period at the end of the sentence needs to go after the parentheses, after the year. So it'd be year, parentheses, period. And this might just help you later on when all your papers that you're going to have to write, just so that your professors don't take off for that. But those are just 2 major things, or minor, I'm sorry. But I just wanted to point those out to you. And I enjoyed reading your paper, and thank you very much.